Hey, Tom, it's really great to get together and hang out on air again. And we did this because we were just talking, and I said this is too important. We need to record this and share it. How are you doing today?
Martin, I'm doing good. It's good to be with you.
Uh, Years ago when I was leading my men's group, I would have mothers come to me and say, "I know how to fight with my daughter, but everything I do with my son is a train wreck." And why I meant fight with my daughter, deal with issues, interact, relate, and everything. And it was amazing how many times that topic came up.
Yes.
And then hearing that you're starting to work on another book around mothers and sons, I want to get it on my channel immediately and just start the discussion of it. So that's why I want us to do it this evening.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I think that's a great example, the moms knowing how to fight with the daughters, but not knowing what to do with the sons. And the reason, of course, is that the mothers were daughters when they were little, And so they know what makes their daughters tick. They know what pisses them off. They know how to fight. They know what gets them upset. They know how to calm them down. But they didn't have the experience of being a little boy, and the dads did. So the dads have a real advantage when it comes to that. So moms, I think, can really benefit from learning a little bit about what does make boys tick. How are they different?
Yeah, and the way I view it is, I don't know what it means to grow up in an estrogen-based body.
Right,
Right?
exactly.
And so, expecting a mom to know what it is to move into testosterone is a tall order.
It's a very tall order.
And
Exactly
so
right.
many are dealt where it's just the mom and the son, and they're trying to do it. And it's, to me, one of the biggest issues we have in our culture.
Yeah, because we got a lot of single mother families now, a lot of single mothers who are taking care of sons and are frustrated. They really want to be close to these boys, but they can't quite figure out how to do it because they try and do the same things that they do with their daughters, and it does not work. It's very different.
Tom, where would you start in tips? Now this is kind of an unfair question to get to the point, but where's the beginning, do you see, in this issue?
Well, the book that I'm writing, the very first part is giving women a sense of what it's like to be a boy and talking about the differences in boys and girls when they're young. And it includes the testosterone flood that we all, or most men, go through. It includes the different ways we play, the different ways we compete, the different ways that we get what we want. That's a fascinating one, with the whole issue of how do you get what you want? And right about 3 or 4 years old, the two sexes diverge, and they diverge in this whole key of how do you get what you want? And how do you think the boys get what they want?
That's really interesting. I'm going to throw out some type of negotiation that's different than emotional
Right.
technique.
Except,
I'm going to go that the girl is developing an emotional language to get what she wants with.
right.
And the boy's going to develop something that's more around actions and negotiation and things. So that's just starting.
He's going to tell people what he wants and that he wants it now.
Okay.
That's what little boys do. They want the truck, they push to get the truck.
I see.
Or they say, get out of my way.
It's a frontal assault. I want
It
to
is an open frontal way of trying to obtain what you want.
I got a great story of this, of a friend's son, and he wanted to be in the karate class, and he wanted to be in the karate class, and he wanted to be in karate, and eventually the father gets a call back from the karate center going, your son has called us several times, and I think we need to talk to you.
Yes.
So that's excellent. And I don't know that that's the natural tendency of little girls. They would use more of
Uh, there's some fascinating research on this that was
Go ahead.
done in the turn of the century, I think, by an anthropologist who studied boys and girls going to summer camp. All the boys went into cabins with just boys, and all the girls went into cabins with just girls. And at each cabin was a professional, a researcher, who was counting behaviors and counting all the ways that they went about trying to get what they wanted. And the guy tabulated all this stuff and came up with some absolutely fascinating material about how they're different. And well, he talked about the girls, and he said the first week in camp, the girls didn't try any kind of dominating behaviors. They basically worked the crowd. They tried to make alliances, and they tried to get close to the other girls that first whole week. But after the first week, Katie barred the door. They started using techniques to get what they wanted that were relational rather than open and thrusting.
Correct.
And they would use things like gossip or threats of "I won't play with you," or any kind of relational ways. Oh gosh, they talk about averting the gaze from someone. Just the averting the gaze is like a powerful ploy for these girls, to exclude someone. Excluding someone was like a big piece of the power. So they have their ways of going after power, and the mothers know all of this because they did it when they were little girls. But it's very, very different from the boys' ways, which are much more direct and just objective. Just, "I want the truck now." And the girls were more likely to use words and to try and persuade. The boys, not so much. The boys really did not care if someone got hurt in the process. In fact, they said that if if there was weakness found in one little boy, all the boys would pile on.
Mm-hmm.
So one kid gets exposed as having a weakness, and all the boys go, So
fighting against weakness is a very basic thing that she might expect in the son. So expecting him to be open and sensitive or something like that is going against almost a primal training.
Yes, that's a no-no in the hierarchy. You don't appear weak. You may be weak, but you don't let anybody see it.
And I can see this with mothers, if just giving the boy permission to not have to expose that is a way to start relating. Some of it, don't go for the sacred cow immediately.
Yes.
Yes. You want to build trust and rapport with him.
Yes. And, all this boils down to the different ways that men and boys heal and how that impacts our closeness with them. Because, the women can get close to the girls because they know how they heal. They know that talking and safety is something that helps those girls feel close. And then they feel close. And when they exchange information, they feel even closer. This is the feminine way. Boys tend not to use that tactic. They're much more likely to use action or inaction, which confounds the mother because she's so used to the talking mode that she can't really understand this active mode. And therefore, she expects him to do like she does.
So the acting could be, he wants to act out and you point him in a direction that's less destructive, or he needs time alone and you recognize that's important and don't drag him out of his cave.
Exactly.
Is that?
Yes, especially the last one. When boys need time alone, we need to respect that and honor that and let them be. Or simply be with them in the time alone and don't talk. Doing something with him shoulder to shoulder. Because when the boys play, what do? They go into coalitions. They go into places where there's lots of boys. They learn how to be a part of a coalition. They learn how to tolerate other boys who they normally would not like very much because that boy can help their coalition to win. So they're learning these things. And of course, later in life, this is really helpful to them, because they learn how to, at work, tolerating that person who's a jackass in order to make sure the job wins what they're doing. And they learn how to be a part. They also learn in these coalitions, the boys learn how to specialize. They learn how to do their part that everyone respects and admires. So a kid who can play catcher, is needed on the team. Anybody catch? Yeah, I can catch. Okay, good, you're in. It's like he's got this specialization that he learns from being in these coalitions. Now, how do you get close in a coalition?
One would be to work with it. I visualize someone standing with someone working. I'm thinking of being with my grandfather and working with him on something.
Yes, you are shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah,
you're on the same
not
team.
face to face like couples therapy
You're on the same team, working towards a common goal, but you're doing it next to each other rather than facing each other. The whole thing of facing each other. Keep in mind that therapy itself is a feminine mode.
Yeah, because it's a face-off.
Exactly.
Which in the essence of the masculine, that's where the war starts.
That's exactly right.
While we're working to serve, we're shoulder to shoulder.
Yes. Men tend to see this eye contact thing as confrontation.
And we know that in the animal kingdom, just naturally.
Yeah. So all of these differences play in. If moms knew these differences, they'd be able to get close to him in a different kind of way, in a way that really honored his difference, in a way that honored him as being okay the way he was, rather than telling him that he needs to talk about his feelings.
Right, which
turns him off. He says, forget that.
Forget that.
I'm not doing that shit.
It's sort of like attempting to ask a young girl to do something would make her feel maximum exposed and vulnerable, whatever that would be a metaphor of.
Well, the analogy I use is asking girls to try out for the wrestling team.
That's a way to help solve a problem.
It's got to be an active competition outside the box. I mean, for guys, that's like, oh yeah, I'll compete. I'll beat his butt, But for girls, that's not the way they relate. They don't relate in a competitive mode. They relate in a cooperative mode.
And there's something else I want to bring into this, Tom, that you've given me that I think so valuable. And you talk about how we are not black and white creatures.
Yeah.
I get the 80% like a bell curve of males born in male's body are masculine in their core, and like 80% of women are feminine. And I think that's so important because this isn't just force them into a box, but if in one of these boxes, it might be nice to know how to operate in that box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, and the operator tends to know how to do it, but the people who are stewarding the operator sometimes miss.
Well, because it's not their box.
Exactly. And it's curious, just as you said, physiologically, biologically, we are different. Yeah. And 80% of men are going to have this testosterone stuff going on, but 20% of men won't. Mm-hmm. Same thing with women. 80% of women are going to be estrogen based, but 20% are going to have more testosterone. And so there's this blend that's going on there. It's like you said, it's not black and white. And we need to learn to love the very masculine girls and the very feminine guys as much as we love the opposite.
Right.
And our job is not to pigeonhole and say, okay, all of you are in this pile and all of you are in that pile. That's not it at all. Our job is to know the different ways and to evaluate who follows which pattern and how much they follow it, and to see their uniqueness, not to try and pigeonhole them into some little box someplace.
Tom, a friend of mine years ago, she had become a single mom and she was raising her sons. And I came to her with this idea that I said, so many parents ask, who do you want to be? Instead of starting to notice who they are.
Yes.
I just shared that with her. Well, years later, she came back and told me how valuable that was, and that she started listening to who they were and trying to find paths for them to be that constructively. And, you know, I'm just honored that I got to be a piece of that, you know, but is this aligned with what you're talking about?
Oh, it's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's exactly right. The joy of knowing someone's essence as who they are, rather than trying to fit them into what we think they should be, you know? And it's an art. It's an art for us as parents to be able to do that. It's not an easy thing because, you know, we were brought up in certain ways and we expect things to happen in certain ways based on our own experience. And
Now,
sometimes we have to leave that experience.
I'm not actively involved with young men in school today, but I get a lot that have heard I wrote my own book, and they come, moms and people in school say that we've also taken away the ways boys win in school as well in a major way, and it reminded me of in my school. We had something called recess, and we were like banshees, almost killing ourselves on the playground during that time. I mean, I can, you know, go back to the school and remember it. And we were like wild running around, you know?
Oh, it was the one time you had when you could release.
Yeah. And,
you know?
one mother said she said it almost like if he's male, we must drug him. That's not right. You know? That was one I heard. So could you kind of comment on that? I mean, it's, you know, it's almost like a war, or it's like we don't want to ever take away the wonderful things we've done to create opportunities for girls, but we swung so hard we're strangulating the boys.
Yes. Yeah, I think we've gotten lopsided, Martin. You know, we're considering girls and we're not really considering the boys.
Because it's like, well, they have everything. No, they don't. You know?
Yes. The assumption is that the boys had it all, and now it's the girls' turn. And boy, I could spend some time taking that one apart.
Yeah.
But the important thing is we got to love both boys and girls. And if you're screwing the boys out of things, you got to stop now. You know, you got to love them both.
Right, and really get what's gifted on them. Any other tips for moms? Because this is, I'm excited because I know what a great researcher you are in putting things together. And of course, I'm a big advocate. Your book on how men heal, not only I'm integrating into the project I'm doing, but also I've integrated into my life and gotten value out of it.
Oh, thank you, Martin. So, you're very kind. The one tip that I would have for women is when you're talking with your son, always sit on his right-hand side.
That is so cool.
Because the research says that boys and men will take in more in the right ear than they will in the left.
Now, do you think that's different if they're left-handed? Or
I don't know if handedness plays into that. It may, but you're probably good with at least 90% with that.
But it's also, if you're sitting there, you're side by side. You're not directly in front.
Yes, exactly.
So you're going to 50% improvement just picking one of them. You know, even if you pick the wrong one and you go, well, that didn't work, let's try the other.
There you go.
That's an excellent. What an excellent piece of it is.
Oh, there's all kinds of things like that I've discovered. It's fascinating stuff, and you know what I want to do is have moms be excited about being with their sons. And be excited about learning new things about them so they can kind of appreciate them for who they are.
I think also this can help even in a father and mother relationship where dad's involved, because they'll start seeing maybe the value that the father and son have to support it as well, along with the interacting with the sons.
Yeah, if dad's involved, that's even better.
Yeah.
Because she can ask the dad why he does certain things.
Yeah.
Why he doesn't do certain things and get that masculine perspective, because he did grow up as a boy and he does know. What you find is dads are much less likely to get into power struggles with boys repeatedly. They'll pick their battles real carefully, and they will get into power struggles over something that they think is important, but they will not get into a power struggle with him over taking out the trash.
I see. Interesting.
Moms tend to get into power struggles every day. I can't believe you haven't taken out the fucking trash. Oh my God, I've told you 500 times to take out the trash. You know, on and on. She's thinking, he's so disrespectful. He's blah, blah, blah. He's this, he's that, he's this and that. And it's like, this is the trash, Mom. It's not a big deal. You know, if he's taking drugs, that's when, you clamp down on that boy.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of things, Martin, making discipline-wise. Making discipline something where
my next topic, yes.
Making discipline something where he's a part of a coalition and he wins if things work.
I see.
My mother used to, when I was a little guy, she had trouble getting my brother and I, and sometimes my sister, to take out the trash. So she pulled a fast one. She would put a quarter underneath the trash can so that whoever took out the trash would go, hey, quarter, right? So she was using positive reinforcement and an unexpected pleasure to drive us to get to that behavior. And that's what you want. You want to try and encourage. You want to reward, because boys will work towards reward. Boys are driven by respect and admiration. When they get respect and admiration, they blossom.
Well, it's not too bad for wives, because my wife's figured this out. She can a little respect and admiration gets a lot of me to do a lot of things, Tom. So I just want to tell you,
it's a secret that I tell my female clients all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
That is, if you want your husband to open up, admire him, and make sure you don't admire him, for false reasons.
Right.
Make sure it's something you really, really admire,
and
tell him. And the first time you do that, guess what he's going to say? He's going to tell you how he could have done it better.
Yeah.
He's going to open up.
Because
as soon as he does that, he feels safe.
Yeah. Yeah, this is excellent. One more thing I want to just mention, and then we'll do more in the future. This is just the first, so watch, folks. The other thing is, to me, a huge absence is the lack of consequences, and how important that is for males to have consequences where the line is held. What's your view? It's just something I see absent, and I'm just an outside observer.
Yeah, well, the boys, they say there's three things that boys want as far as that goes. One, to know the rules. What are the rules? Two, to know who is enforcing the rules. And three, to know the rules are enforced fairly. If he knows those three things, he's likely going to be okay. But if someone starts enforcing the rules unfairly, you're going to have trouble. He's going to get real upset real quick. So as parents, we need to put those rules in the refrigerator. Here are the rules, pal. Here they are right there. This is our domain as a family. These are what we expect from everybody. Make it clear as a bell what those rules are, and go from there. And make sure he knows what's expected of him, and then follow through. If he doesn't
follow through is important too.
It's absolutely important. If you say that you're going to have your cell phone taken away for 4 hours if you do XYZ, and you do XYZ, you better as hell take that phone away for 4 hours.
I want to end on a note. There's a a friend who something didn't work with his son, and he'd call up and go, "Can I bring his computer over to your garage?" And he went, "Oh, man, you got it." And I'm like, I am game to support you as a father in that.
There you go.
That's the act. You see, it walked over, it came. And then I remember getting a call, it's a young man's voice, and would say, "Mr. Brossman, I've done what I needed to. Can I have my computer back?" So we were in cahoots, to support him with it.
Good.
And he got his computer back. But it has to have a consequence that you're going to execute. That's the key.
Yes. Just have something he can do to right the wrong.
Excellent. Well, Tom, thanks. And what I'm going to say is, if people hear something in this and want us to discuss more, put in a comment line, add it, and we'll do another show. Is that good with you, Tom?
Yeah. And if anybody's got any ideas about the book and what needs to go in it, or if you've got a story about how you got close with your son, put it in the comments. I'd love to see it.
Yeah. And I'm going to share this on my Taboo resource area too, because I'm using you to support me in getting my book written as well.
Good deal.
My models for it. And I'll also put a link for people to learn more about your work too as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Excellent. This was terrific. Thanks so much. And I really hope I look forward to seeing people's comments below. This is Martin Brossman and Tom Golden here. So check
Thanks,
it.
Martin.
Take care.
We'll see you.